The rain had been falling for 3 days straight when the unit was ordered deeper into the Olympic National Forest, the kind of rain that doesn't just soak you but settles into your bones and stays there. Visibility was poor, the canopy so thick that daylight barely reached the forest floor, and the air felt heavy, charged, like the woods themselves were holding their breath. This was supposed to be a routine training exercise, a navigation and endurance test meant to push soldiers past comfort and into discipline. No one expected anything unusual. No one ever does. The Olympic Forest has a reputation among locals, though most soldiers stationed nearby only half listen to the stories. Tales of strange noises, massive shadows between the trees, hunters going missing, and footprints too large to belong to any known animal. Campfire talk. Folklore. The kind of thing civilians tell to make the wilderness feel more alive. Trained soldiers don't spook easily, and they definitely don't believe in Bigfoot. That confidence began to crack on the second night. It started with the sounds. Low, rhythmic thuds echoing through the trees sometime after midnight. At first, they were mistaken for falling branches or distant thunder. But thunder doesn't pace. These sounds came in intervals, heavy and deliberate, circling the perimeter of the temporary camp. Night vision goggles picked up nothing except endless trunks and wet undergrowth. No heat signatures, no movement, just sound, moving where nothing should have been. By morning, the men were tired, irritated, and quietly uneasy. One of the soldiers, a seasoned tracker, pointed out something near the edge of camp that shut everyone up. Footprints. Deep impressions in the mud, each one nearly twice the length of a standard boot, spaced far apart as if whatever made them didn't need to hurry. They weren't bear tracks. Too human in shape. Too large. The commanding officer dismissed it as a hoax or a misidentified animal, ordered photos taken, and told everyone to move out. As they advanced deeper into the forest, the terrain grew rougher. GPS signals dropped out. Radios crackled with static. Compasses spun lazily, refusing to settle. It was as if the forest itself rejected their presence. Around midday, one soldier reported the feeling of being watched. Then another. And another. That quiet instinct, drilled into infantry training, the one that tells you when eyes are on your back, wouldn't go away. The encounter happened just before dusk. The point man froze mid-step, raising his fist. The line halted instantly. Ahead, through the trees, something moved. Not fast, not hiding, just standing, tall, impossibly tall. When it stepped into a small clearing, every soldier saw it clearly, and in that moment, training collided violently with disbelief. It stood over 8 feet tall, broad-shouldered, covered head to toe in dark, matted hair that glistened with rain. Its arms hung long, almost reaching its knees. The face was not monstrous, but not human either. Deep-set eyes reflected the dying light with an intelligence that was unmistakable. This wasn't an animal reacting on instinct. This was something aware. Weapons were raised. Fingers hovered on triggers. No one fired. The creature let out a sound that vibrated through the ground, a low-frequency growl that wasn't aggressive but warning. The forest seemed to respond. Birds erupted from the canopy. The wind shifted sharply, carrying a powerful, musky scent that burned the nostrils. Several soldiers later described the overwhelming sense of being completely outmatched, not physically but territorially. Like stepping into someone else's home uninvited. One soldier broke protocol and shouted. The creature reacted instantly. In 2 strides, it closed a distance that should have taken seconds. Trees cracked as it moved, not pushing through brush but stepping over it. It stopped short of the line, towering above them, chest rising slowly, eyes scanning faces. There was no rage in its expression. Just assessment. Then it did something no one expected. It reached down, picked up a fallen tree limb thicker than a man's thigh, and snapped it cleanly in half. The sound echoed like a gunshot. A demonstration. A message. You are not in control here. The commanding officer ordered a slow retreat, weapons still raised but lowered slightly in respect. The creature watched, unmoving, until the last soldier backed away into the trees. Only then did it turn, disappearing into the forest with shocking silence for something so large. The night that followed was chaos. Radios finally crackled back to life, though transmissions were distorted and incomplete. Higher command ordered an immediate extraction at first light. No explanations. No questions answered. The unit was told to stay put and maintain a perimeter, but no one slept. The sounds returned after midnight. Not circling this time, moving farther away, as if whatever lived there was satisfied. Extraction came with helicopters hovering just above the tree line, never fully landing. The soldiers were pulled out fast, faces pale, hands shaking despite themselves. Back at base, the debriefing was brief and clinical. Footprints dismissed. Photos confiscated. Body cam footage labeled corrupted. The official report cited equipment malfunction and misidentified wildlife. Stress-induced hallucinations were mentioned. The word Bigfoot was never spoken. But soldiers talk. Over the years, fragments of the story leaked. Anonymous interviews. Whispered accounts on forums. A few brave souls who had nothing to gain and everything to lose by speaking up. They all described the same thing. The same size. The same eyes. The same overwhelming sense that the forest wasn't empty, and never had been. The Olympic National Forest remains one of the most remote and least explored regions in the continental United States. Thousands of square miles of dense wilderness where satellite coverage fails and human presence feels temporary at best. Biologists admit there are species yet undocumented there. Search and rescue teams quietly acknowledge areas where people vanish without trace. Locals still avoid certain valleys, certain trails, especially when the rain won't stop. Skeptics argue there's no hard evidence. No body, no DNA confirmed beyond doubt. But soldiers are trained observers. They know the difference between fear and threat, between imagination and reality. These were not tourists chasing legends. They were professionals, operating in formation, under orders, with every reason to dismiss the impossible. And yet, they didn't. One soldier, years later, summed it up in a single sentence during a private interview. Whatever that was, it wasn't trying to hurt us. It was telling us to leave. And we were smart enough to listen. Whether Bigfoot is flesh and blood, something older, or something science has yet to name, the encounter in the Olympic forest stands as one of the most chilling and credible accounts ever whispered beyond classified walls. Not because it was violent, but because it was calm, controlled, intentional. The forest doesn't give up its secrets easily. And sometimes, when trained soldiers retreat without firing a single shot, it's worth asking who truly had the advantage that night.